It looks like that strong rotation signature. It's going to come very close to Interstate 59 here, right around the Springville exit. You see there in the Margaret area. If we go into a lot of this reflectivity and we take a look at this, when we bring this up, this rotation tracker, we're kind of filtering out all the rain and just showing you where the greatest indication of a tornado is, and it's right in this zone. You see that is right now crossing into St. Clair County. So for most of Jefferson County at the moment, it looks like the conditions are improving. We're most concerned about right here now entering around the Margaret area, Argo, and we need to check with our weather watcher Tyler Young there in Argo here in a few moments and see how things are there. But Caldwell, Springville, you can see now getting closer and closer to our areas. We need to watch this here. We're going to stay weather alert and keep an eye on some of these storms that are developing back across West Alabama. We've got some new reports coming in around the Fultondale area where we had some of that damage earlier and a debris signature that showed up on the radar. We're continuing to try to follow up on that and get some more specifics for you, and we will pass that along. A lot of folks without power. I'm getting some reports here, some folks on social media. Just let you know we're streaming live on the First Alert Weather app and on iHeartRadio, so tune us in on iHeartRadio. We're going to stay with you right here. JP?
Yeah, and also looking right now at St. Clair County, Rolling Hills, Cotton Ridge at 11:09, and also looking at West Ridge at 11:10, Argo 11:11, Misty Pines at 11:12. So we're seeing Argo right now. You are in the line of fire of the higher winds. First alert if you're watching around Dogwood Estates or Argo, I-59 in that area. I am talking about you. This is where you need to get in your safe place. Misty Pines by 11:13. This is going to impact Caldwell and also the Springville area. The storm's tracking to the east and northeast based on our computer data here. It is moving fairly quickly at 45 to 50 miles per hour right now. That's what we're seeing out of this storm. That's why we have a tornado warning in effect until 11:30 for St. Clair County. Hopefully we'll see some weakening in this, but right now we do have that tornado warning in effect for St. Clair County. By the way, the tornado warning is almost out of Jefferson County. We're still holding on to it because we're still seeing the storm that could possibly be producing that tornado right there around the Clay area at this point in time. So a first alert if you're around Clay, Dogwood Estates, Argo, I need you to make sure you're taking cover right this second. Springville area, it's going to be in your neck of the woods here within about the next 5 to 10 minutes. It's moving pretty quickly, and it's basically following Interstate 59 there. That's going to be the track of that. If you're going to be in the southern portion of St. Clair County, the situation's looking a little bit better. So we have the green and the red close to one another. Asheville also included in this track. Holly Springs, but Caldwell and Springville kind of in the heart of this. Here's what you can expect as this moves through. You do have the potential for a tornado. If you don't get a tornado, you're likely to see those winds kick up over 50 miles per hour. Power lines, trees down, all a possibility with this. Want to make sure you stay away from windows, get to that safe place until this passes. How long is that going to be? Probably if you're in Springville or Margaret, another 20, 30 minutes, and then we can give you the all clear. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect right now for Pickens County, and I want to make sure you're watching that. That storm is going to eventually make its way on into northern parts of Tuscaloosa County. That would include the Samantha area, Highway 43, perhaps on into Fayette County. Wes is with us here at the First Alert Weather Center. We've been efforting to try to get a hold of Brett Adair to see if he's got an update. He was one of the first to report that damage around Walker Chapel Road. Wes?
Yeah, they're working on that right now. We're going to try to get a report. I just actually got a report from one of our weather watchers, John Talbot, said reports of damage there. Let's see, he writes some structural damage, possible injury. So yeah, we're trying to figure that out. No, unconfirmed information right now, but we're trying to gather that data at this late hour. Bottom line right now, we want you in a safe place. If you're in Springville and Margaret, we're still seeing indications of rotation. You know, this is not the kind of setup tonight where we have a supercell storm that just tracks across the entire state. I know we've had those events where we have, we've had tornadoes that start out in places like Tuscaloosa and end up in East Alabama. what we're seeing here, this thing really ramped up. It spun up, produced a tornado right there around Fultondale. What we see right now, just looking at the structure of this, JP, this does not look quite as impressive as what it looked like earlier. In fact, the lightning frequency has really dropped off. There's still some rotation there. We want you to stay put if you're in St. Clair County, but I will tell you, just based on what we're seeing here, it looks a little bit less intense than what we were seeing earlier.
Yeah, that was one of our first clues. I was doing the weather here inside the studio. Wes had stepped out the back door and he noticed just the lightning had ramped up so much on that storm. He was like, hey, look at this. And we started to get some signatures on radar, and then boom, there you go. We had some rotation, and the next thing you know, the Weather Service had issued a tornado warning. What we're seeing right now on radar looks a bit tamer. We're not giving you the all clear, not yet, until that warning expires, but there's still some indications of some rotation in there around the Margaret area between Margaret and Springville. But I will tell you, it is not as pronounced as, say, it was around I-65 or Fultondale or even around the Center Point or Pinson area. We're seeing some indications here of perhaps stronger straight line winds associated with this as it moves through. And I can tell you right now, the rain is going to be incredibly intense. I was checking my Facebook feed. There's a lot of people without electricity. Pitch black right now in Gardendale. And I would imagine that's going to be the case across much of northern Jefferson County on into St. Clair County because of these, well, there you have it, these high winds over 70 miles per hour. I hate these overnight events because you always concern yourself with folks that are sleeping and maybe not able to get that warning information. So hopefully you are getting that warning information. If you know somebody that may not be paying attention, ring their phone. Is it Brett we have?
Yes.
We got Brett Adair. Hey, Brett, JP here and Wes in the First Alert Weather Center. I saw your report about Walker Chapel, and I saw a pretty impressive radar signature there. What are you seeing? You're the eyes on the ground.
Yeah, JP, we are currently at Walker's Chapel. I've got down it a little bit, had a little bit of ground clearance, so I was able to get by it. Just turned on 31 North. A lot of high-tension power lines down across the interstate. A couple vehicles actually ran into those power lines.
Wow.
Causing some windshield damage. I'm driving up 31 North now from the intersection of Carson Road North, and I'm seeing emergency personnel ahead. I was watching the radar just like you guys were. I was in Mississippi earlier trying to get back east and get to this storm start wrapping up pretty rapidly, and I saw a more definitive signature of bad damage a little further north and east of the interstate. So I'm trying my best to get up the highway here to see what I can get you guys. I do see quite a few power poles, power lines down here on 31. And again, a lot of emergency vehicles here. Let me see what this intersection is. We're near the Fulton Springs community here near Stouts Road and 31, Republic Avenue and 31. Seeing a lot of activity here off at the side of the highway. In terms of damage, I've seen some structural damage. Some of the large signs at the Walker's Chapel exit for the hotels, those were bent over and broken. Some of those power poles there and street lights were also broken over. Significant winds occurred there, obviously. Trying to get back into these areas, get you a little bit more information.
All right, Brett, stay safe out there. The power line's always a struggle, and Brett's a pro at this, but if you're out and about tonight, be aware of that. There could be some power lines down, and sometimes people touch something that they shouldn't, and it turns into a big problem out there. So stay put. Don't go out sightseeing looking for damage tonight. We have one tornado warning in effect right now, and that is for St. Clair County. St. Clair Springs, Caldwell, Whitney, Asheville included in this. We don't have that tight rotation that we had earlier, but it is still something that we need to pay attention to as it tracks off to the east-northeast. The storm itself has been moving very quickly, 45 to 50 miles per hour. This is the same cell that moved through the Fultondale area, also Pinson and Clay. It is out of Jefferson County, but we need to hold on to what's going on in St. Clair County. That tornado warning is going to continue until midnight for St. Clair County. St. St. Clair Springs, based on our computer data, that is where we are seeing the highest winds right now, moving up toward Whitney and Asheville. Make sure you're in your safe spot. You lived around here long enough, you know what to do when there's a tornado warning. You get away from windows, get into an interior room. If you're new to the area, this may sound a little unusual. You come from a place that doesn't have tornadoes. Trust me, get into an interior room and get as many walls between you and the outside world as possible. For many others, this is old hat. We end up doing this quite often. There's a look at the thunderstorms moving toward the Gadsden area. At this point, a lot of lightning. These are not severe. I am feeling somewhat optimistic on the storm that is moving through St. Clair County. We're not giving you the all clear just yet, but man, it does not look nearly as bad on radar.
It's really improved here.
Yeah.
You know, the signature. I will say, if we don't have a tornado here right now, and according to this, we don't see quite as much rotation. We are seeing some indications, as JP noted. There's some strong winds in here. Let me just show you as we look at the triple threat meter. We're showing 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible right now. So this is a severe thunderstorm. I know we have a tornado warning. It's a severe storm. If you're anywhere between Odenville and Springville, a chance that you could even have some strong wind gusts that could produce damage similar to a small tornado here at this point. Cool Springs, Asheville, you're in the path of this. So if you're in Asheville, if you're in the Hood and Steele area, we're going to stay on it and watch it here closely. Also watch these storms. You know, it's interesting tonight. We're seeing more lightning producers, I think, than what we saw earlier today when it was warmer.
That's right. We had temperatures in the mid-70s and far more lightning at this hour. What I think is happening here, and if you look at this, kind of the big picture, this is kind of riding along a boundary here that is going to go stationary. And it's eventually going to cause more rain on Wednesday. Not severe weather on Wednesday, but more rain. Look at this, back to the west. We do have Pickens County under a severe thunderstorm warning. That's in effect right now for the Carrollton area, and we're going to continue watching that storm. It may very well make its way into Tuscaloosa, Northport, on into Samantha, so we can't discount even a tornado forming there. We're not seeing that at this point in time, but certainly we do have some of the ingredients in place for that to happen this evening. The good news is, I think a lot of the shear is lifting out, and that should improve things over the next couple of hours. I don't think this is going to be an all-night ordeal where it's one tornado warning right after another. It's more or less a situation where we have to watch these storms. Remember, earlier in the newscast, we were talking about, hey, make sure you have multiple ways to get warnings in case you get that alert. We want you to get up so you can get to your safe place. So back to St. Clair County right now. Again, this is the northern part of the county. The storm's not going to head down to the south. It's moving toward Asheville, Caldwell, and Springville. If we zero in right now on where the highest winds are, that's going to be right around this area right here, and that's going to track probably just to the south of Caldwell. South of the interstate, you're seeing actually two areas. St. Clair Springs, high winds in excess of around 70 miles per hour. I do think those may actually end up making their way up toward the Caldwell area, but if you notice, everything's kind of lined out. We're not seeing that tightly wound what we call a couplet in the weather world. It's where you have the red and the green right there next to one another. We're not seeing that to indicate rotation. What we're seeing is something that indicates really more widespread wind damage. But at the end of the day, if you have a tornado or you have 70-mile-per-hour winds that does damage to your home, you still have damage to your home. So there you go. There's the computer estimating those winds around Caldwell, and this is right now, around 58-mile-per-hour winds, greater than 70-mile-per-hour winds through parts of St. Clair Springs and just to the north of the Margaret area. Before too long, situation's going to be improving in Margaret, probably already is, but right now our focus is going to be on Springville, Caldwell. It looks like this is going to stay to the north of the Odenville area. If it does continue to hold together, it would make its way on into Etowah County. Wes?
Yeah, just to let you know here quickly, Tyler Young, our weather watcher in Argo, just reported a 61-mile-per-hour wind gust.
Wow.
He said he's in the basement and hanging on right now as this rolls through. But right now, St. Clair County dealing with some of the strongest winds in the entire state right now. Possibility of winds gusting over 60 to 70 miles per hour. And, you know, you pointed out something, JP, really makes a lot of sense. The way this is lining out, more of an indication, this may be evolving into more of a straight line wind threat than what we're seeing right here between Odenville and Caldwell. But that tornado warning, it should expire here in about 10 minutes. It looks like we still have it active. Yeah, it's still active, so it should expire here. Asheville, you're included in the tornado warning, but I can tell you anywhere from Whitney and possibly even south of Asheville, as far south as Wattsville, you could get some strong winds here very soon as this line pushes on through. And this is finally starting to make that push a bit further south towards Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, and the I-59 corridor. It's been kind of holding to the northwest for most of the evening, but now things are moving along. I think by 12:30 we want to see some of this pushing into Birmingham proper, back towards Tuscaloosa, and also into Pell City, places like that. So we're going to continue to watch this right now. The warning set to expire. Hopefully it will be able to expire. This may be replaced with a severe thunderstorm warning just based on the indications that we still have some strong winds here.
Yeah, Wes, I'm looking at the Weather Service chat here over on the other desk, and reports of structure damage on Sun Hill Road. That's one of the areas that we were talking about earlier. And we're getting reports here. This is possibly that there may be a gas leak in Fultondale as a result of these storms. So that would be around the Fultondale area. So a lot of things, hopefully our newsroom is watching our coverage right now, some things to call on and to verify. But right now, one alone, a tornado warning in effect for St. Clair County, including the Caldwell area. And this is about to, really, I'm not seeing the center of the circulation there, Wes. Maybe clear a little bit of this off. And let's take it from where we see the shear skid, and that's that amber marker there. Actually, I've got the control on this one. Bear with me here just a second. We're going to get rid of some of this information.
Right now, the only warning, well, it looks like we still have the Pickens County warning set to expire at 12 o'clock. But we're getting closer and closer here in St. Clair County. Still some indications of some very strong winds. Okay,
let's bring you up to date. This is the tornado warning in effect right now for St. Clair County, but we do have some higher winds outside of that warning. Okay, so listen up to me in St. Clair County. If you're outside of that warning, it doesn't mean you have the all clear. I think you have some higher winds that will be moving through, and this is going to be 1137. The Ragland area, actually 1135 Ragland. Get ready for some higher winds moving through there. We're getting this indicator that we get from our system that indicates where you have some higher winds. Macon at 1140, Sulphur Springs 1141, Reagan Chapel at 1142, and Francis at 1143. So I want to make sure if you are in this part of St. Clair County, you're actually outside the tornado warning, but I think you may have some higher winds move through there. Our computer's telling us this pretty reliable. I would go ahead and start thinking about my safe spot if I were in Ragland, Macon, Mitchellsville, or Sulphur Springs. And the reason for that, I think you may have some winds in excess of 70 miles per hour pushing on through. In fact, our computer's starting to see that little rotation indicated right there. And this is going to be just to the south of I-59. This is going to track just to the north, I think, of the Ragland area. That's outside the polygon. Wes, just know that's outside the polygon right now, and the Weather Service, I'm sure they're looking at that as well.
Yeah.
It may be more of a straight line type wind thing, but again, if you're in this area and I've named off your city, make sure you are treating this as some dangerous weather. 70, 80 mile per hour winds, not out of the realm of possibility. Is the lightning as intense with that? Do you have lightning turned off, or are we still getting?
I can pull that up here. I wanted to let you know, JP, I just got a note from Dr. Tim in the Center Point area. Said he's got damage.
Does he really?
So you may want to check in, see what's happening in the Center Point area.
He's actually, his damage, he lives in Trussville, so I don't know if he
may have a contact perhaps, but he just passed along that report. But the lightning has ramped up here with this again, and that's often a red flag when we see that. Cool Springs, Asheville, Whitney area, we could see this trying to tighten up the circulation again, and it's actually, if you look at that latest scan, it looks like this circulation may be trying to redevelop. It takes this is what we call our shear storm cell identification marker. When this pops up, we often see that yellow line like that. That is the first thing we look at when it comes to tracking what could be a tornado, and when that shows up on our AccuTrack system, that is a clear sign that we could have some tighter rotation. And notice here, there's Coal City, there's Ragland, so it's actually tracked a little bit to the Right. You hear us often say that, some of these storms that are often, they kind of hook to the right, the ones that sometimes can produce a tornado. So let's watch this closely. We don't have a warning, but we may see an updated advisory issued. I know the Weather Service is watching that closely at this point. But as far as we know, right now, let's see, that warning set to expire at 11:30. Go ahead.
Yeah, getting a note here from a friend of mine. And again, news department, if you're watching this, and maybe Wes, you can send them a note as I'm talking, because there's a lot for them to keep up with as well. A friend of mine says Stony Brook Apartments in Fultondale says it looks like it's a mess there. Part of the roof is laying beside his truck. Okay, this is Stony Brook Apartments in Fultondale. A friend of mine is telling me a report there. This is the storms that we were talking about earlier, and Dr. Tim is talking about he's got damage in Center Point. He was out driving around, and 79 and Sun Hill Road. 79 and Sun Hill Road there in the Center Point area. We're going to work to see if we can get Tim on the phone with us. In Odenville, the lights flickering on and off, incredible rain there. This looks like it's going to track just to the north of the Odenville area, but we do have numerous reports of damage in Fultondale based on what we've seen from the radar data and also the debris signature. It looks very much like we had a tornado move through there. Higher winds moving through St. Clair County, and again, outside of the warned area, we do have Ragland, and it wouldn't surprise me if we have some high winds move through the Ragland area. I want to make sure if you're in Ragland, you are paying attention to the weather. I know the warning's a little farther to the north, and that's where the original tornadic signature was heading, but I think there's been a little bit of a shift here where you may have some higher winds moving through the Ragland area. So we're going to really stay on top of this over the next little bit where this storm goes. Eventually, I think we see it on into Etowah County. There's a whole bunch of rain. I mean, incredibly heavy rain. The worst of the lightning is around Caldwell and Cool Springs, and then back out to the west. Wes was talking about Pickens County under the severe thunderstorm warning. So that's what we have right now. Wes, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Yeah.
I need to run and get a little information, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the damage reports that we have coming in. I saw one image here. It looks like maybe a hotel with quite a bit of damage there that we're tracking in the Fultondale area. That's where we had some of the damage earlier. Let me reset, show you what's happening here at the moment and what we really need to watch out for. We're keeping an eye on West Alabama. Had a couple of areas here. We had that severe thunderstorm warning for Pickens County. That storm is weakened. Still need to watch this one right here. It's got very strong kind of a hook signature to it across North Tuscaloosa County. Need to watch that one. And notice right here, this arrow, that's where our system's detecting some very strong rotation in St. Clair County. And we still have this warning. It's set to expire at 11:30. Let me check here. The Weather Service may be about to expand that particular warning. And it looks like, okay, they just canceled the severe thunderstorm warning. No word here on what's going to happen with Pickens County, but we may see that expanded. Right here, our system's still indicating where we may have a tornado. So bottom line, if you are watching us, I'd say Ragland to the Hood community at this point, just be ready to take action at any moment if we see this upgraded. I'm looking at this. I'm seeing, well, I'm looking at this. I don't see the strong rotation that we had showing up earlier. It looks like more of weak rotation. You can see there, even though our system's showing the rotation storm cell marker at this point. Let's check out the winds. Well, that's why. We're getting indications here of straight line winds. See that? 70 miles per hour. So Hood to Ragland, be ready for the possibility of some damaging winds. This is now crossing between Asheville and Coal City and Wattsville. If you're watching in Odenville, Margaret, Argo, those areas, you're in good shape right now. The worst of this has moved on by. It's now pushing into central St. Clair County. By the way, Jefferson County, and for first responders that are responding to where we got the damage north of Birmingham, I just want to show what's happening here on radar and make sure we don't have any storms that are approaching. And actually, we do have some lightning to the north, and for folks that are north of Birmingham, just be aware that there's still some stormy weather pushing through Jasper and Dora. It's non-severe at the moment, but this could bring some heavy rain and the threat of some lightning there around Fultondale as we try to assess what's happening this late evening. All right, Asheville, Ragland, that warning has expired. So the Weather Service, they're going to just hold off, more likely just hold on to a strong storm advisory, but it's going to be windy, I can tell you that. Winds are about to really pick up here, and now south of Asheville between Hood and I mentioned Ragland and the Coal City area, probably some of the stronger winds that we're detecting at the moment. Things are looking okay at the moment around Gadsden, but I know there are some noisemakers out there tonight. Some folks listening to us on the radio, just to let folks know that are tuning in. We've had a lot of power outages out there. Folks are also watching on the First Alert weather app, and a lot of lightning and some noisemakers. That's what we're seeing in most areas, and this is doing pretty much what we expected. You know, we've had just a couple warnings out there, but we've had a couple troublemakers so far tonight. And this is the one right here that's moving through St. Clair County. We'll keep an eye on what's happening here across West Alabama, but you can see mostly it's just a lot of rain, some gusty winds in here. This one storm, let's check this one out across northern Tuscaloosa County. We're going to get back to northern Jefferson and St. Clair County. And by the way, our news team right now, we're gathering what's happening around the Fultondale area. And if we have any new information, any video coming in, we're going to be passing that along. So just stand by, waiting to gather some more information. Right now, Wiley and Three Forks. This is Highway 69 north in Tuscaloosa County around Wyndham Springs. This storm needs to be monitored closely. I see a little bit of a hook with this at the moment, and indications we may have some small hail. We had some nickel-sized hail reported with one storm earlier. Sandtown to Wyndham Springs and the Samantha area. This has now crossed Highway 43 and it's moving towards Highway 69. So if you're anywhere from Oak Grove to Parrish, I know it's late at night, just stay up with us here for a little while. Let's wait and see what this storm's going to do as it moves on through. A couple of these, again, have been rotating, and if you look at what's going on, some of these are lining up even back into Mississippi. Notice right there south of Philadelphia, Mississippi, there's one storm. The overall system finally starting to move to the south. It's been just kind of held up here to the northwest, but now all this is finally starting to move to the south. So things kind of flaring up here, JP, over the past hour or so, but what are you hearing with respect to Jefferson County?
Yes, some incredible damage. I'm seeing some pictures right now, and we're not putting them on TV at this point because of any kind of copyright infringement, but we're efforting to get these. I can tell you right now, the Hampton Inn by the Outback in Fultondale, a tremendous damage, and we're hearing reports that in that area there may be some entrapments. That's in Fultondale, and you know exactly where that is. That's by the Outback. There's an O'Charlie's there. There's a Chick-fil-A. There's that hotel. That's a lot of damage. It does not look good. Dr. Tim Coleman is on the phone with me, and Dr. Tim saw some damage in Center Point. Tim, tell me, what have you seen? You've been driving around Jefferson County since this kind of blew up.
Yeah, I went up on top of Chalkville Mountain to try to see the tornado. I never could see anything definitive, but I came. Can you hear me?
I got you.
Okay, yeah, I'm on Carson Road now, driving.
Okay, there could be some problems with self-service there. We had Tim there for a moment. We'll effort to get him back. Depending on what's happened with these storms, we could be looking at some cellular outages and so forth. Let's look right here at the Ragland area. And again, not a warning, but I'm just seeing some things here that I don't like. Where we have some circulation here, a shear marker, and we need to watch this. This would include Ragland and Ohatchee. This is our track. This is probably just to the north of Ragland. It would be moving through just to around Neely Henry Lake here shortly. Ohatchee area, moving east-northeast at about 50 miles per hour. So we've got a place there that we need to keep an eye on, where we are seeing in St. Clair County the indications of some higher winds, perhaps even a little bit of rotation. It's not going to stay in there forever. It is moving on through fairly quickly, but I don't want to let that one go just yet, because what I am seeing on radar at this point in time, it's a tornado watch, area-wide tornado watch in effect across the area, but we do have some reports of damage, some serious damage that we're finally starting to see. Walker Chapel Road, we're seeing it around Fultondale, around the Outback, some of the hotels there. I believe the Hampton Inn with some damage based on some of the pictures that I'm seeing. These are kind of bits and pieces of information coming in, but trust me, this was a mean storm when it rolled through Jefferson County. There's a lot of power outages that are going on right now, so folks are having to watch us on the weather app, some kind of streaming device. May not have the television working right now, but things are going to be fairly active here for at least another couple of hours. The watch itself does not expire until 1 a.m. We've seen some counties taken out of it, Winston County, Marion, and the Lamar counties, but we still have that tornado watch in effect for much of our area. But again, Ragland area, give it about another 10 minutes, and this is going to be able to give you the all clear there. 10 Islands and Ohatchee and Cobb City and Duke. Those are going to be places that we need to pay attention to over the next little bit as this storm continues to move east-northeast at about 50 miles per hour. I think the main threat is going to be damaging straight line winds with this, seeing some pretty intense lightning up around the Gadsden area. Perhaps we can check in with our Gadsden camera. We have several cameras there located at the EMA office that we can pull up and show you what's going on with those storms as they roll on in through Gadsden. And northern